Namaskar friends, welcome to the channel Turning Point. I hope all of you are alright. In today's video, I'm going to tell you how to write an effective research proposal. This will be really helpful to you if you are going to apply for a research project. I'll tell you step-by-step procedure for writing all the points in a proper manner. And I will also give you a brief example of a research proposal which will really helpful to you. So without any further delay, let's start the video. The very first point for writing an effective project is its title page. It must include the title of the project, your name, organization name, date, and contact information. The title of the project must be precise and it should clearly tell about the objective of your project. So title page is very much important. The next step is introduction. The next page, which is introduction, it should include background information about the project, its relevance, and the problem or opportunity it addresses. In introduction, you need to give the complete detail of the things that you are going to attain in your project. Its background, previous work done on that project or that area, and future work, a short description of future work that you are going to perform in your introduction. Now the next page is project objectives. This is one of the crucial part of writing an effective research project. It must clearly state the specific goals and outcomes you aim to achieve with the project. The objectives of the project are mostly bullet points in which you need to provide all the objectives of the project. If your project is of 3 years, then 4 to 5 objectives need to be mentioned in your project. And you must specify only those objectives that you can achieve easily. You don't need to mention those high-end objectives which will become difficult for you to attain. So writing the objectives is a very crucial part while writing a research project. The next part is project details. In project details, this is basically a detailed description of the project. It must include the project scope, including what will be done and by whom and within what time frame. That means if there are principal investigator and co-principal investigators, you need to specify the work of each of them. You need to specify their roles and you need to specify the time frame also in which you are going to complete the project and what will be done. That means what kind of objectives you are going to achieve in your project. The next point is methodology. This is about methods that you are going to use while implementing your project. Outline the approach or methodology you will use to accomplish the project objectives. Let's suppose if you are in computer science field and you are going to use machine learning algorithms in your project, then you need to mention those algorithms in your methodology. So methodology actually contains the methods or algorithms which are going to be used for implementing the project. The next step is timeline, which is very much important. You have to be specific about timelines. Create a detailed schedule of project activities and milestones. This helps demonstrate the feasibility of the project within the proposed time frame. That means you need to specify in first 3 months, what are you going to do? In the next 3 months, what are you going to perform? And so on. For example, if you are doing data analysis in your project, then in the first 3 months, you are going to collect that data. And in the next 3 months, you are going to apply those algorithms which you have mentioned in methodology on your data. And in the next 3 months, you are doing complete experimentation and then you are writing an effective research paper in order to authenticate your research. So all of these things you need to mention in a proper timeline with proper time frames. The next point is budget, which is very important. How much money you need to achieve or to accomplish that project. In budget, break down the costs associated with the project, including personnel, materials, equipment, travel, and other expenses. Let's suppose if you are going to hire a JRF or research associate for your project, then you need to mention the stipend or fellowship that you're going to pay to them in your project expenses or budget. Then material. That means if the data that you're going to collect is paid, then you need to mention the database or dataset price also. Equipments, if you are doing some science project, then you need to mention the size, then you need to mention the cost of the equipment also. For example, camera for clicking real-time images of the object or product, then you need to mention equipment also. Then travel expenses for conferences or collecting data and other expenses, etc. These need to be mentioned clearly in the budget. And if you need some workstation or computer for compiling the data or printer cost, etc., then you also need to mention all these things also. After that, evaluation and outcomes. Describe how will you assess the success of the project and what the expected outcomes will be. Here you need to mention the performance evaluation parameters. That means how your project will be better from the previous work, from the previous projects. You need to mention in this section, evaluation and how the outcomes will be. So these things should be clearly mentioned in this section. The last section is sustainability and future plans. Once your project will be completed, you need to mention the future scope of the project and how will you maintain that project. This thing comes under sustainability and future plans. Explain how the project will be sustained after the funding period ends and outline any future plans or follow-up activities. So this is sustainability and future plans. Next is appendices. This is also one of the important sections of writing a research proposal. It includes any additional supporting documents such as resumes, letters of support, or supplementary research data. If you have all this information available, then you can include them in the appendices. Including the resumes of PIs and co-PIs is very much important, and letters of support, letter of recommendations are also crucial part of writing an effective research proposal. So you must include them in appendices. After that, these are bonus tips while writing an effective research project. The first one is be clear and concise. Whatever you mention in your project proposal, it should be clear and it should be in brief. You don't need to give unnecessary information in the project. Next is address the reader's need. Whatever is asked in a particular section, you need to mention only that thing. You don't need to give extra details which are not asked. And everything should be clear to the reader. Next is provide evidence. You need to provide the proofs. If you have already done some work on that project, then it will really help you to select your project proposal. And the next one is follow guidelines. If the project funding agency have given you certain guidelines for writing the project proposal, then you need to follow them thoroughly, diligent. Then the chances of acceptance of your project will increase. And apart from that, if they require some NOC from your institute, then you need to provide that also. Failing which will lead to rejection of the project. So these are the bonus tips which you need to consider while writing the project proposal. Now, here comes a brief example of a research project proposal. Let's suppose the title of the project is Enhancing STEM Education in Rural Schools. Then the first point is executive summary. Executive summary means abstract of the project proposal, what you are going to perform in your project. It can be of 50 to 100 words only. Next is introduction, which I have already told you. Introduction should give background of STEM education needs in rural areas. First of all, we need to give the background of education in rural areas, and then what is the importance of the project. Suppose if there are two paragraphs in the introduction part, then the first paragraph will be about the background and the second paragraph will be about the importance of the project which you are going to accomplish. Now the third point is objectives. Objective means to increase access to STEM resources and to improve STEM learning outcomes. Here only two objectives are mentioned because it is just a brief summary of project proposal. Otherwise, a complete project proposal contains 11 to 12 pages. So every objective must start with 2. That means you're going to perform this, you're going to achieve these objectives. The next point is project details. In project details, workshops and curriculum development and teaching, training and target schools and participants. Here you need to provide the complete details of the project. Then methodology. Here in this project, the methodology is hands-on activities, online resources, and peer mentoring. Because this is not computer science project, here methodology includes hands-on practice, hands-on activities, online resources to be provided to the schools in rural areas, and peer mentoring. Next one is timeline. 12-month project timeline with key milestones. That means this project is of 1 year. Budget. Break down the cost of staff, material, travel, etc. Because staff will be involved in this project, material and travel will be included. So you need to mention the cost of each of them. The next one is evaluation and outcomes. Pre and post project assessments, feedback mechanisms, etc. Before implementing the project, what were the outcomes, how it was performing, and after the implementing of project, what will be the changes or positive changes you need to mention over here in evaluation and outcomes. And what will be the feedback mechanism you need to mention over here also. Now sustainability and future plans. Here, how will you going to maintain the project? Integration into school programs and partnership with local agencies. That means when you have worked on that project, it should be implemented in the schools. So that will be the future plans. And then appendices, resumes of project team. Whoever are going to work in the project, you need to give their resumes, then letters of support, that means letters of recommendation, and curriculum samples. So these are the additional details which you need to provide in the appendices. So this is all about how to write an effective research proposal. I hope this video will be really helpful to you. If you have any doubt or queries, then you can ask me in the comment box. And I used to post videos on various research journals which are free of cost and Scopus or SCI indexed. You can go through those videos. That will be really beneficial to you. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much. Thank you.